I'm here with the Arctic Leopard EX700. This is what it looks like. And what we're going to do is put some risers on to raise these bars up and to be able to put on some bark busters from Reflex Racing. I already tapped this end, and then we noticed this part of it hit here, and well, that's an issue. So we're going to do the risers, which it kind of needs anyways. Granted, I think these are kind of on the tall side, but it's personal preference. That's what they want, so that's what we're gonna do. It's these right here. You can get them on Amazon. They come in black. I can show you on our EX800 that, long story here, but this is what it looks like. You can do the top to here. I think we're going to go with, let's see if this top part just works, because we'll just go like that and go through. And yeah, I think that will work really good. And also have the bars down into that, but you can see it can work with this unit and raise it even further. But I don't think we need to go that tall, so we're going to start with just removing this and putting this in its place and see how it looks. I figured I'd bring you this if you have an Arctic Leopard and you're wondering how this unit works. It's really just the pressure of this pulling down on the bar that has this side tight, but it's just a pin. You can push that pin through, that takes the top off, then you can access the Torx right there. So same over here, you just slide it out, which it only slides one way, I do believe. Here. All right, there we go. Yep, just slides one way. I'm gonna guess this side, because nothing looks different about these, is it's probably smaller, so pushes in, it holds it in. With it wrapped around the bars, the pressure is just holding that pin there. Yeah, I had to skip many days ahead, probably a week actually, but I finally got the Reflex Racing guards on the Arctic Leopard, and this is the EX700, same as the 800, just smaller battery. So EX700, this is what it looks like with the risers. The risers also help clear here for, so you don't have to trim this piece of plastic. And it's more comfortable because they are pretty low. I know it looks really tall, but at the same time, these bars do sit very, very low. Now, you can get these off Amazon, but if you don't have a tap and die kit, you don't have the right drill bits and angle grinder and this and that, I would not recommend. That's why I kind of stopped filming. I was going to do like how to, thought it was going to be bolt right on, but it's not. There's a lot you have to do, but I'll just go through it briefly. So you have to use the Arctic Leopard clamps for the bars, because these are made for the smaller bars, so it won't fit into the channel in there. So, and these add a little extra rise. I was hoping that I could just put the bars without needing to change the bars right to the risers, but then you would have to go to a smaller bar, and don't want to do that. I want to keep with the beefy bar. So drilled out the Allen, it looks like that. That's below this hinge of this bracket, well, lower bracket piece. Drilled that out. Then had to drill out all the way through on the one. That was so, it was just off by like millimeters of being too short to work. So, and what I did here, obviously I did on this one, mirrored it. So drilled this out on the skinnier side. Figure, easier to drill that out than this side. And then drilled all the way through with the drill bit, holding this with a crescent wrench, holding that with a crescent wrench. And then, because the bolt is very long, because it's made to have this be the same height all the way across if I used what came with this for the top of the clamp, I had to cut the one Allen bolt on that side with the hinge. So I ran it through this section, marked it with a Sharpie, and first tapped it. That's where the tap set comes in. It's an 8mm 1.25 thread pitch up, so made more threads because the shoulder on this is very, very long. So had to tap that so that shoulder went up flush with here. Then run it through, mark it with a Sharpie, then use the angle grinder, cut off the excess so it's not poking through too much. I could have probably went a little shorter here, as you can see, but that's good. That's good. We can live with that right there. And I did better on this side, even though that one's also the same length, but I tapered it. I do have a bit for that. Never used it before, so I was able to taper it. That's what you should do when you're cutting bolts, but first time I've bonded those and I've never used them, so went ahead and used it and did it the right way. So I'm trying to think, what else did I need to do? Oh, and then the Allen that sits under this hinge, well, you can't get the hinge pin in that line. Again, it's like a millimeter off. So I used a die grinder and I cut off a deburr, whatever you want to call it. And I took the top down just enough to be able to get this hinge on with the pin. And then it's not done there yet. Well, because this is such a thick head, it sticks out into the smooth path of the bar area. So then once I had it blue Loctited, I blue Loctited the hinge side bolts down in. Then I took the die grinder bit and I just had to barely touch and cut off that, the shoulder of this Allen that sits down in here so the bars can sit smoothly. So there's a lot of steps that went into making this work. You'd be like, well, how did you put them on the other bike? Well, the other bike we sold. That was somebody else's bike. They put them on. We got the bike back. Like, literally, they had the bike a few days, and they were like, nah, we'd rather have the Ultra B. So we drove up past Denver and did a swap. Basically swapped the guy. And I want to say he paid a little bit more, or did we give a little money back? I don't recall at the time what the price difference was. I don't know which way that check went. I think we ended up giving him some money back, gave him the Ultra B, took that back, which he only had like a couple miles on it, but he put the risers on. Who knows? We always thought it was weird that he gave it back and didn't take the risers off and just kind of put it back to stock. I kind of wonder if he just forced it through. Probably didn't do it the right way, but I do see he cut off the one bolt like I had to do there underneath over there. But yeah, there's a lot of steps. So if you don't have the tools, you don't have the drill bits, you don't have a tap and die set, like I said, that is 8mm 1.25 thread pitch. So there you go. I mean, you can just buy the taps you need, of course, but I do highly recommend I've had this Craftsman one for a while now, and I think at the time it was $300 or something. Fortunately enough, at the time I didn't have a shop, but my father was like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? Hey, I tap and die set. And I've used it so much over the years. It's well worth spending the money. You'd be surprised how much you use it if you ride dirt bikes. So it comes in handy and it works really well. And I think this turned out really good. Just a lot of steps. If a customer came in, I mean, this is kind of for a customer. This is for my business partner's gal. So I don't really consider her a customer per se, but yeah, if a customer brought us something like this from Amazon, it's not really worth. I mean, you're looking at 3 hours labor at $150 an hour, for me to dick around with that. I find it fun. Don't mind doing it. Would hate for a customer to come in and think I'm going to do that. I am not going to do that because there's some sketchy stuff you're doing, And then I needed to rerun this line, and I ended up going through here. That seems on this bike to work better, but, I had to take the die grinding bit and to get the fitting through. I took that off. Through this hole, well, I had to do just a little die grind down there. And it's not a big deal. It's on this part. It's not on the billet. But it's just something you have to do. And that's something I would do on my bike. My business partner would do on his bike. And this being his gal, it's just something we all know sometimes you have to do on a bike to make things work. But I think this turned out pretty good. Otherwise, it looks good. We will order different stickers from Reflex Racing, so they won't be blue. You can buy different stickers, so do red. I think that's what she wants, and it's not much. And we need to buy more of these anyways, just to have them in stock. And plus, I'm going to put a set of these on the Cove 800X Rally. They just work really good. So very good bark busters that work. They're threaded inserts. So I also did that. They're not going anywhere. That is red Loctited in. Like I said, I only blue Loctited the bolts through here. This has pressure because it's pulling over. So do not Loctite these. And I did not Loctite like these because these have pressure. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And Reflex Racing. So originally these were made for I forget what bars are called, but the flex bars, that's what they're called. It's a big unit and they flex. So it has a cable here and it flexes. And it works really well. It works really well for that setup, what he designed it for, and just for normal bars. Like if you end up hitting something, it will, it might get shifted, but you just kind of pop it back into place because there's a cable in here. And you put these spacers in for how many you need. And that was close enough, so I put 2 in on each side. So that's what it looks like. And this gives you an idea what you can do with your Arctic Leopard EX700 or 700, because they're the same, but they're totally redesigning this bike, and can't wait to see the new bike and get to ride the new bike. And I know we've had a few customers that have asked us. Yes, we're dealers for Arctic Leopard. It's just they're going through some changes, so it's just not worth trying to get in stuff. Well, I don't even know if you can right now. Last we checked a month ago, they were still waiting for forks, so don't know where they're at yet. In the bigger bike, the EX700 or 880, that bike is, you can order it, but it's one-off orders because the price is so high. There's no way we're going to get a bunch of those in. And then they're coming in, I think by air freight, they're coming in when needed. Even they are not bringing in a ton of those into the US. Although I like it more than the Stark Varg. It's a lot better single track bike. It's lighter. It has a huge ass battery, and it just works really well. But support is and as a dealer, I hate to say that, but support has still been hasn't been the greatest with these guys. And that's why we can't put a lot of investment into bikes like this, or the full-size one, or even their newer Sur-Ron style bikes, which seem to be good, but don't know about the support. So it's one of those things. If you want one, we can order it. It's not a big deal. Usually you get bikes like within a week or two. Not a huge deal. And come in, talk to us, and we'll talk about price on this or the full size, or their I think it's the XC line Enduro. That's the one that's popular. Hopefully this gave you some ideas for your Arctic Leopard. Have a good one. Bye.